Statistics suggest that trade in general and intra-regional trade in particular are vital in promoting economic growth and development in the West African sub-region. This on account of the fact that aside from fostering large-scale capital investment and enhancing economic efficiency, intra-regional trade provides a useful platform for improving competitiveness on national enterprise before exposing them to the rigors of global competition. Although many governments are reorienting their economies towards more open market regimes, the region's agricultural productivity and cross-border trade are yet to enter a stable growth path as they are confronted with a number of challenges. Principal among the barriers are poor transportation networks, cumbersome imports and export procedures, border crossing problems, limited use of information and communication technologies, poor trade settlement systems, and financial hindrances, among others. These have resulted in low levels of trading activities among West African countries and have become the bane of underdevelopment of the sub-region. To help solve the situation, the government of Ghana, together with USAID on Wednesday, brought together key stakeholders in the country as they dialogued on the possible ways of addressing the situation. Addressing stakeholders present, Chief Technical Advisor to the Minister of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Samuel Kojo-Dapaah, says trade among West Africa is key to the growth of the continent and therefore there is the need to pay critical attention to it.
Trade is really the cornerstone for improvement in the quality of life of any society because you cannot produce all the things you need yourself. So the exchange allows you to consume some of the things that you do not produce. And I am also able to consume some of the things that I do not produce. So trade is really the critical aspect. The problem with trade in West Africa is that the transportation cost is so high. It's among the highest in the world. And within the ECOWAS region, there are also difficulties in terms of not perhaps knowing exactly what we need to do. I indicated that if you are transporting goods to, let's say, Tamale from Accra, know the limit of how much you can carry. Don't overload the truck. Check to make sure that your truck is in good condition, your documents are in good condition, so that those who have been assigned the security of making sure that things go properly will have no business detaining you and asking you to go and do A, B, C, and D. So it's on both sides. The security officers must also know that trade brings prosperity for all of us, including them. So it is in our court. And I'm saying that nobody will love as Ghanaians more than we can love ourselves. So let's work together to get the benefits of trade. The Secretary of Sales talked about what the heads of state and governments of West Africa did in Ghana, in Dakar, and so on, coming out with the protocol for the free movement of goods and humans. So all those things have been done. The problem is the implementation. And that's why this is such an important meeting, because all the parties will be there so that they can find a solution to what is not going right.
Project coordinator in charge of export market and quality awareness project, Mawuli Agboka, also shared similar sentiments. He is optimistic that the forum will come up with timely solutions to the problem.
Every country depends on trade as a tool for wealth creation and development. And that is why across the world you see countries creating platforms to enable them to trade goods and services. But when you come to Africa, you realize that we have mounted a lot of barriers which prevent us from, trading amongst ourselves. Indeed, it's just about 10% of our total trade that is done between African countries. And this does not augur well for us, because without our ability to trace goods and services, we will not be able to create the wealth that will help us to bring ourselves out of the doldrums. Now, a typical example is the orange industry in Ghana. You have heard stories about orange getting rotten on farmers' fields to the extent that farmers are cutting down their trees. But just a step across the border to Nigeria, they demand a lot of orange. And yet, trying to transport the orange from Ghana to Nigeria presents huge challenges. Traders are detained about 14 days, 3 days, 10 days on the border. By the time they are allowed into, the country, the oranges and other stuff are rotten. We believe that a forum such as this, where we bring the important players in the industry across the countries, such as the Customs and Excise, Immigration, the transporters, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, will help all of us to understand the problems and be able to map out strategies that will help to reduce this road harassment and create a platform where we can trade more amongst ourselves, because we have to know that it is not aid which will help us to develop, but it is trade. And nobody is going to help you to develop except you yourself take up that challenge. And therefore it is critically important for us that we dismantle all the barriers to trade.
It is incumbent on exporters and importers to pay critical attention to the rules and regulations that help prevent road harassment on trade corridors.